of four partners. We've introduced about core partner and the Four Seasons self-love residencies.
Hello, pleasure to meet you again. My name is Anthony Soto. I'm the Vice President of Development and Investments at Four Partners. I just wanted to give you an overview of Four Partners, our relationships with the Four Seasons, and the success we've had in developing luxury condominiums and luxury hotels throughout the world. So Four Partners was created in 2010. And currently, we have developed many Four Seasons in the United States and across the world. Some of these developments are significant developments in the sense of they are in some of the most beautiful areas in the world, including Miami, but they also include areas like the Vatican, Marbella, Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and other areas like that. And in addition to that, we are also in co-ownership and in development of the Four Seasons Cruise Line. This relationship has spawned from our ability to deliver high product and high quality, and the Four Seasons has designated as a preferred developer for them. So I think it's very important to discuss today's investment, but we have to look back at the Surf Club and what that has done, not only for Four Partners, but the success that we had. So the Surf Club was developed in 1930 by the tire tycoon, Mr. Firestone. He had vision in mind of having luxury for him and his friends to be feet away from the beach, to race his cars, and for an area of complete and tranquil relaxation. He created this with the vision of having some of the most famous individuals of the time, presidents, movie stars, actors, actresses. They would all descend upon Miami, Florida in order to enjoy this property. And through the 30s, 40s, and 50s, you had the likes of Winston Churchill, Frank Sinatra, and some of the actors and actresses of that time. Here are a few pictures of before and after. So in 2012, our principal, Nadeem Ashley, purchased the Surf Club, and with the vision of bringing back the luxury of the area. Partial of the project was historically designated, and we built a 77-key hotel and 151 luxury condominiums. The hotel currently is the most successful hotel from an average daily rate perspective of any Four Seasons in the entire world. In addition to that, our condominiums have set world record prices each year of sales and each year of resales, giving proof to the luxury that is in our property. I think it's also very important to understand, and I think it's very important for you guys to understand, that in 2017, Four Partners took $100 million of EB5 money, and we repaid that in full in 2021. As you can see here in the middle, that is the Surf Club. And today's investment and today's project that we'll be discussing are the three towers that you see in yellow: Tower 1, Tower 2, and Tower 3. These will all be branded Four Seasons condominiums, which is important to know because it's an extension of our original successful Surf Club. Each one of these towers and its residents will have access to the Surf Club and access to the amenities, and they will also receive a coveted Surf Club membership. What's also very unique about this project is that once these three towers are completed, we will have 1,000 feet of linear feet on the beach unobstructed. There is no other project like that in Miami or in the state of Florida. I also want to point out to you that is very important is that currently we are actively under construction on all three of these towers. Tower 1 has recently been topped off in the sense that we are completing the interior finishes of the building. Tower 2, we have currently demolished the building and we are doing the critical foundation and deep soil mix work. In Tower 3, we recently completed demolition and we are doing deep soil and foundation work. I highlight this for you because the developer, we have spent over $400 million already in acquisition and construction and design cost, showing you the path that we are taking to finalization. I also would like to tell you that we are actively selling Tower 1 and Tower 2, and as of last week, we have sold over $700 million worth of condos. And what's important to know is that we have over $300 million of deposits. These deposits are used to further construction, giving the guarantee and the success of the project. Our last sale was last week, a beach villa in the amount of $54 million.
We all have had one. You're not.
So as you can see here, this is Tower 1 that has been topped off. What I want to note for you, and which I think Nick spoke to, and which is very important, is that the jobs that are created for EB5, my good friend TJ will speak more about it, but since these projects are actively under construction, the jobs associated with this project have been created.
It's all in the thing that we have those.
As you can see, these are renderings of the projects.
I had to that. But we don't know that.
I want to point out to you the luxury of these products and the type of quality that we build, because it's important to understand the buyer that is buying these projects. As you will see in the documents, we only have 54 units. And in Tower 1 and Tower 2, we have sold over 75% of those units already. These buyers are some of the richest and wealthiest in the world, giving 50% deposits. This is important to understand, as these individuals are not very much affected by economic uncertainties and current markets. As TJ will highlight some of the buyers, they are the largest hedge fund owners. They are the most world-renowned artists and sports athletes. So this gives us comfort in any environment that we will have the ability to close on these units. So I'll bring in my good friend TJ at this point. And I look forward to answering any and all your questions.
Phần tiếp theo sau đây sẽ được trình bày bởi luật giám đốc pháp lý thẩm định dự án EB5, luật sư TJ Kang.
The middle part of this picture is the existing Four Seasons hotel and residence that was completed in 2017. And if you actually go and check Expedia or some other booking site right now, if you were to look and see how much a one-bedroom suite this weekend would be, it's around $7,000 US a night. So you can actually go check and see all these things that we're saying about the success of this project. So when Anthony mentioned that this Four Seasons has the highest ADR of all the Four Seasons in the world, this is easily verified. For instance, actually, this is the Surfside Miami. Lionel Messi, who recently moved to Miami to play soccer, lives like 5 minutes away from here. And if you look at the left of Tower 3, there's a building over there where Ivanka Trump and Jared Trump actually live right now. So this is the part of Miami, Florida, where they call it the New Billionaires Road. So if you go to New York, there's an area of New York City around Central Park where they call it Billionaires Road. This is where all the wealthiest people in the world are purchasing condominiums. This is now New Billionaires Road in Miami. So for the current EB5 investment, they find that way Tower 2 and Tower 3. So as we've mentioned already, the developer is 4 partners. The type of development is condominium residences that people will purchase and is branded Four Seasons, a world-renowned luxury hospitality brand. The regional center is called EB5 Southeast RC, and I'll explain a little bit later about who they are. For this project, we're looking to raise $132 million in total, which is about 165 investors. The subscription amount per investor is $800,000, with an administration fee on top of that of $70,000. The nature of the investment, so once the fund is raised from the investors, the fund is then going to lend the money to the developer, 4 partners, and it will It will be structured as a secured loan. The term of the loan is 4 years plus two 1-year extensions at the option of the developer. So the way the term would work is on the first advance of the funds to the borrower, there will be the start date. That will be the start date for the loan. So for instance, our expectation is that by January or February of next year, we will make our first advance to the developer. That means from January or February of next year, which will be 2024, we count off 4 years. And so we expect the 4-year term to end in January, February of 2028. And that will be the same for all investors, whether they invested at the beginning or whether they invested later on in 2024. The loan term would end for all investors in January, February of 2028. There is a return that's given to investors. It's quite small, but it's a nominal return that we provide, which is 0.25% per year on the 800,000 that's invested, and that is paid annually. Okay. So quickly, I wanted to get into sort of the construction timeline for this project. So as you've seen previously, Tower 1 is well underway for construction, and as Anthony mentioned, they've topped off the building and they're just currently working on interior finishes. So that the Tower 1 actually started demolition in 2020, in September of 2020. And the expectation is that actually by February of 2024, which is very soon now, a few months from now, they can actually start delivering units to purchasers, which then means that actually the developer can then actually receive sale proceeds from these buyers, which is very important for the financing of the project. Our expectation that the Tower 3 is the last tower that we expect to be finished from a construction perspective. And as Anthony mentioned, construction on that tower has already started. When we first started working with the developer on this project, there was an existing building that was there that they had purchased. And now that building is no longer there because they demolished that building earlier this year in 2023. And the expectation is that full construction of the 3 towers will be finished by June of 2026. And all throughout this time period, from February 2024 to June of 2026, the developer will continue to finish units and deliver units to purchasers, meaning they'll continue to receive sales proceeds from the sale of the units all throughout construction. So when you make an EB5 investment, what are the 2 things you're looking for? First is obviously the requirement that Nikolai mentioned about creating jobs. The EB5 program is dependent on your investment creating jobs, and specifically 10 jobs per investor. And so in our investment opportunity here, we're looking to find 165 investors, meaning we need to create 1,650 jobs so that the EB5 requirement of creating 10 jobs per investor has been satisfied. We've received an economist report that indicates for this project, the construction phase and the funds used to create construction jobs will actually create close to 7,000 jobs. That's well more than actually required because we only require 1,650. And maybe more importantly, in May of this year, we got the economists to look into how much money has been spent already in construction and how many jobs have already been created from the construction that the Fort Myers has already conducted. And they concluded that close to 2,400 jobs have already been created by May of this year. What does that mean? It means that from the issue that Nikolai had raised about when you're trying to get your I-829 approved and you have to demonstrate to USCIS that the jobs have been created, that issue is really not present in this project because the jobs have already been created before you even make your investment. Okay. Next thing I'd like to take you through is the capital stack. So what does this project cost? How is it funded? The total project cost for the 3 towers is just over $1 billion. Of that, we expect to have $321 million of senior loans. These are loans that have actually already been secured by the developer. And now with the EB5 fund, we expect to raise $132 million of that and use those proceeds to fund 12.8% of the construction costs. As you will see, when you add up all the debt, so these are the only loans going to the developer, that is actually less than 50% of the total project costs. The remainder of the project costs is going to be covered by the developer's equity and deposits, the significant deposits that the developer has already secured from the pre-sales of units. Okay. So what is the other important thing with an EB5 investment? One is I created jobs, I've secured my green card. The next is I made my investment, I like to get my money back. And so how in this project do we intend to return funds? So if you look at the exit strategy, I just want to make sure we understand what this type of project is versus some other project that might be out there as an EB5 offering. So you might find that there's hotel projects out there, multi-family residential apartment projects out there, or commercial property development out there. And all those types of projects require a future income stream to be realized. So let's say, for instance, if you're in a hotel, you build the hotel, you open the doors, and you have to have, guests come and stay at your hotel to generate revenue. That generally takes time. After construction, typically it takes 2, 3, 4 years to stabilize your income to the point where you are satisfied that you've reached the maximum capacity you expect to reach. To the point then you can either sell your property or refinance the property so that you get another lender to come in so that you're able to pay back your construction loan and your EB5 loans. Those types of projects are dependent on future events, future income being earned, making sure that the future income that earned is sufficient to be able to recapitalize or sell it at a high enough price to be able to repay your loans on the property. Those types of projects, I think, are more susceptible to changes in economic conditions in the future. This project, though, is different. Here we have a very clear exit strategy that's derived from sales of condo units. So if you will see, the projected projected total proceeds from the sale of the condo units is around $1.25 billion. Of that, on the left, if you were to deduct deposits that have already been received, which went to fund construction, some selling costs associated with selling commissions associated with selling these units, and then you take away the $321 million of senior loans that sits before the EB5 loan, you are actually left with around $450 million of sales proceeds, and that amount of money is available to repay the $132 million of EB5 loan proceeds. So from that perspective, we believe there's a lot of cushion in terms of the total proceeds that the developer will receive in order to fund the repayment of the EB5 loan. So then you might say, well, really, it's all, whether we have that $445 million is really largely dependent on whether the developer will realize on the $1.25 billion in projected total sales. And that's right. So this is like any other project then. You're relying on some future event to say that you're going to receive $1.25 billion in sales proceeds. I think what's different about this project, though, is the amount of pre-sales that the developer has already been able to achieve. So in all three towers, there's only a total of 53 units available for sale. And right now, and they already mentioned, but right now, only Towers 1 and Tower 2 are available for sale. And of those two towers, there's, I believe, 36 units for sale in total. And of the 36 units, I think this is a bit dated. As Anthony mentioned, they just sold another one. So in Tower 1, they've sold 21 units already. And in Tower 2, they've sold, the 21 of 27 units have been sold, and 6 of 9 units of Tower 2 have been sold. So in total, the total sales proceeds from those two towers is now over $730 million. And in terms of the deposits that the developer will receive, it's actually over about $325 million in deposits that their developer is going to receive. That's a high percentage of deposits in comparison to the actual purchase price. So if I just go back, this projected 1.25 billion in sales, projected sales, total sales, is really rooted in actual sales that they have already achieved. And in fact, Tower 3 will go on sale starting, I believe, Q1 or Q2 of next year. And I know that they already have a wait list for people who want to buy those units. So we get updates from the developer as to the sales and who the purchasers are. And unfortunately, for privacy reasons, we can't tell you who the actual purchasers are, but we can tell you about the condos that were sold in 2017 on their first phase of their project, because some of the buyers and sellers have been disclosed in local publications. And so the types of buyers that are buying these units are some of the wealthiest people in the world, pretty famous people. And the reason I tell you that is because our belief is that based on the nature of the purchasers that the developer is going after, and the amount of deposits they've actually received, which is close to 50% of the actual purchase price, we believe that the developer will be able to sell these units and have the purchasers who pre-purchase these units actually close and deliver and not renege on their agreements to purchase these units. So for instance, in the old 2017 project, the creative director of Bottega Veneta, a very famous luxury brand, had a unit there. More recently, the former CEO of WeWork had sold a unit in the old Four Seasons. And why that one is of note is that he actually sold that unit for about $50,000 per square meter, which is a record-breaking prices in Miami. Last one I wanted to get was Stanley O'Neill, who is the former CEO of Merrill Lynch, which is a large U.S. bank, recently purchased and then sold the unit there. So these are some of the highest profile purchasers. And so our expectation is the niche market of purchaser that developer is going for is going to be insulated from any sort of macroeconomic conditions that might arise 2 or 3 years from now. So this is just to indicate that this project is an urban TEA, which means that, number one, as Dick mentioned, under the new RIA, it is available for the 10% visa set aside. Secondly, it also means that your investment amount can be reduced from $1,050,000 to $800,000. Next is, we just wanted to highlight this denial guarantee that the developer is providing. And so while we expect if you were to apply and your immigration petition will go very well, we want you to know that you have some peace of mind that in the event that you were to get a denial, an individual denial, the developer has provided a refund guarantee which is payable within 30 days. So to summarize, as I mentioned before, what are the 2 things that people should be looking for in an EB5 investment? First is, I want to be certain, or as sure as I can be, that I am going to get my green card. What is that dependent on? And in this instance, there's already 2,400 jobs, essentially, more than 2,400 now, because that report from May of this year is more than 2,400 jobs that have been created. That's more than enough than what's necessary for the amount of investors that we're looking for. So our belief is that your petition will not fail because you didn't create enough jobs. The next thing is, will I get my money back? So to us, this is the most important feature of picking EB5 investments. And that's the way we approach projects as well. We want to make sure that we're offering to potential investors the safest investment possible. And in this instance, as I mentioned before, our belief is that this project has all the key elements to reduce or minimize your investment risk. Number one, you're working with a best-in-class hospitality brand in Four Seasons. Number two, you're working with a developer and 4 partners that has been highly successful, so much so that they are a preferred development partner of the Four Seasons. Secondly, the thing that I think is really important is this is not a brand new project. If you were to say, 5 years ago, I'm going to build this hotel on Surfside and create this sort of one-of-a-kind kind of project, you might be a little bit wary as to whether they'll actually achieve the hotel rates they want to achieve or the prices for the condominiums that they wanted to achieve. Because that was a little bit of a known 5 years ago. But the 4 partners developers have shown that was actually, while they took a risk, it turned out to be very successful. It's a proven project. It is the highest ADR hotel in all the Four Seasons. It's achieving world record-setting sales prices for resales on condominiums in Miami. And so what this second phase of this project is just an extension of already a very successful project, and that is the reason why they are building 3 more towers. And so for us, we think this project is de-risked from a success perspective, and this is born true from all the sales that they've already achieved and the large deposit that they've received. Also, the one other thing I'd like to highlight is that while they have expected to have 321 million of senior loans, we expect that when our EB5 loan proceeds are advanced to the developer, it will be at a time when all the senior loans have been repaid. This is because the developer is able to sell units and deliver units over a 2 or 3 year period. And as that happens, the sales proceeds from those sales will actually go to pay down the senior loan first. And by the time we advance funds for their construction, we expect to be the only lender in the project. And so from that perspective, all the remaining units are available to actually repay our loan.
And like, that's a lot of that. From this.
A little bit about the regional center. The regional center is called EB5 Southeast RC. It was co-founded by a gentleman called Ellie Cohen. Sorry, I take that back. Actually, it's owned and the president of EB5 Southeast RC is actually Ellie Cohen. His background is in real estate development and finance in New York, and he co-founded a regional center in New York called Extel Regional Center, New York Regional Center in 2021. They were very successful in raising close to $1 billion of EB5 funds, which went to fund some of the most iconic residential real estate development in New York City. So Mr. Cohen has had a wealth of experience and over a decade of experience in operating regional centers in the U.S. And lastly, a little bit about Betha Capital. Betha Capital has been working in the Vietnamese market in the EB5 world, in the EB5 industry for over 10 years. We've been working with local immigration consultants and with Vietnamese clients, and we've actually placed. This is a brief summary of some of the projects that we've brought to the Vietnamese market. And more recently, we've had 2 projects called Escaya and Kornova with the developer HomeFed, where we placed close to 200 Vietnamese investors. So we have a lot of experience working in Vietnam and working with Vietnamese investors.
Something.
And lastly, I just wanted to point out the law firm that we've been using from start to finish for this project. From in dealing with the developer, negotiating a loan document, all the way through to creating all our offering documents. Greenberg Torek has been our counsel. They're one of the leading EB5 law firms in this industry. And lastly, EPR is also a very well-known and leading economist group that helped us prepare the business plan and the job creation report, which is also important as part of the EB5 program. I think that's it. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. JJ, for the presentation.